I'm just going to do a quick gouache off technique here. I just drew this directly on illustration board. Here's the materials I'm using, really simple. And I'm just going to use this because I want to just go down with some flat color. And I've just taped it off. A lot of times this goes under the tape with this technique. And a lot of times I cover the back with some plastic or wax paper because I don't want the water and everything getting on the back of the board, because the rest of the board is just paper and it'll start to come apart. And I'm just putting down some pretty thick gouache. Okay. And I'm going to do different varying thicknesses of washes so you can kind of see how the ink reacts to it. Now here in the white area, you can kind of see how thick I'm going with this paint. It's going to be, the thicker it is, the more it's going to resist the ink. So I think you can kind of see how I'm building it up. And this paint has hardly any water in it. I like to tape around the edges of the illustration board. If the water gets into those paper plies, it'll start to separate. And usually I'll also tape a piece of plastic across the back so it just sort of seals the whole board. And I'm just using Higgins India ink. This is Black Magic. And I just want to cover the color of the surface with the ink. And once it dries, I'm going to get this. So this is all dry. You can see the ink sitting on top of some of that white gouache. And next we'll wash it off. And you can see why I usually like to seal the board. It just gets a lot of water. And the only part of the illustration board that's really been designed to take a beating like this is the surface, not the rest of it. But for this, it'll be fine. So I'm sort of rubbing out some of the ink to try and get it to loosen up a little bit. You can see it won't sit on the gouache because the gouache is thick, so it washes off and then also washes off the ink. So it just makes really interesting marks. And you can see how it's starting to reveal the color, but it also, anywhere I didn't put any paint on the board will be black because there's nothing to resist the ink, so it'll just settle in. So you can do line work around it. There's a lot of really interesting things you can do about it. You can get very woodcutty looking looks with it. You can kind of see the color starting to come back, and I'm going to wash it up a little more. Now, on the belly part of this owl, I didn't put the paint all that thick on that part, and you can see that sort of grab the ink. And here it is. It's dried up now. And we're just going to peel off the tape. And you can see up here, these places where there's more color, that's where I have put the paint more opaque. And then I like the way it sort of sits back under the ink sometimes. You can kind of reveal things. And if you really think about how you're doing this, when you're putting all your paint down, you can really control it. And if we get up close in here, you can see all the interesting mark making it makes. So anywhere, again, there's not any color, it's grabbing the ink. And that's it. Any questions, we'll talk about them in class.